Hey there, good morning everybody. So, running very late this morning, very late. And that just means that you're going to hear a lot of just little rustling and stuff going on behind me because I got kids up and it is the last official day of school. Or maybe that was yesterday because I just had one child come to me and tell me that they're not, they're just watching movies today. So, yeah, so school's basically out. So, another year gone, and with it, children that are moving to other places and, yeah, just growing and stuff. But, yeah, I'm late because, well, I don't know if anybody saw my post that I put up like at maybe 1 o'clock in the morning last night. I put up a post talking about becoming a parentless child. And there's a picture of my mom and me. I couldn't go to bed without getting that post out last night. So I decided, I'm just gonna write it. And then I wasn't going to share it because it was 1 o'clock in the morning for me. But then I was like, no, I'm gonna just share it. So if for some reason you can't find that on my page and you want to read it, it's really just from my heart and soul about having a parent that's aging, and it's not just about her aging, but it's about dementia and just my noticing around that and some of the lessons that I'm getting from that and the things that I see, and also just kind of what that process is kind of like. So, but the big reason as to why I'm so freaking late today is because my poor little munchkin, my 3-year-old, he woke up with this horrible nosebleed. Like, it looks like somebody got slaughtered in my bed this morning because he ended up with both sides of his nose bleeding really bad. And it was not very good. So it's one of those things. But, yeah, I was up with him just bleeding, and I had ice on his neck, and he was scared and crying, so I was laying there holding on to him for quite some time. So, but all is well now, and I am 2-3 sips of coffee in. I sat here going, what the heck am I going to talk to everybody about this morning? Because literally, like, my brain feels like it is such a humongous fog this morning, probably because I went to bed late and then I was up and everything. But I just sat here, and the only thing that was coming in was to talk about like signs and angels and energetics, dreams, just these things that I don't think that we talk about that very much. And I know that even with all the stuff I've discussed on Conscious Coffee and that I discuss in my articles and in my workshops and everything, I don't really go into depth on a lot of that stuff. And not saying that I'm going to go into depth on a late Conscious Coffee at that about this stuff, but I'm going to just kind of touch base a little bit on some of that stuff. Just because I think that as we grow and develop, as we open, as we awaken, and our consciousness, as we become more, we tend to, part of that process is we go from having this veil over us where we don't really notice these things, or we might hear about them, believe in them, but we have no experience around them or no understanding around what we're seeing. So we're consistently just going, that's just coincidence. That's just, that's just chance. That's this, that's that. And our logical mind is telling us this is why that is. Well, I can tell you what, I'm one of those people that I've had a lot of really strange shit happen in my life ever since I was a little girl. And thank God it's happened since I was a little girl, because I look back And I think it's the things that happened when I was a kid that keep me open to things as an adult, because my adult is a very logical, very structured, wants the evidence person, and definitely has to have some science to support things, to believe it or buy into it, or for there even to be some possibility. And then there are these things that I want to have science for. I want to have understanding for. And yeah, science is coming a long way. It really is. And, you know, there's things that science is now looking at and they're going, oh, the spirituality of 5, 6, 7,000 years ago, which was the science of then, FYI, was right. It was right. So there's that. But then there's these things that you just can't even, there's no evidence, there's no science, there's no nothing, so it makes you feel like you're fucking crazy. Okay? There's just things that make you feel like you're fucking crazy. And you have to stop and go, am I crazy? Did I really see that? Am I really experiencing this? Did that really happen? Yada, 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 right? And I think it's different for each one of us as to where that is at. Hey, good morning, Beth. Good morning, Addison, Lori. It is completely different for each one of us where that spot of am I crazy is at when we're talking about signs, symbols, dreams, angels, energy, blah, blah, blah. Maybe just saying those words out loud makes you go, I'm crazy, or she's crazy. Well, whether you believe I'm crazy or not, yeah, I'm probably crazy. I'm definitely crazy about the things that I do. I'm definitely crazy and passionate about the things that, you know, that I want, that I do. And I know what I have experienced, and I know what I haven't experienced. So, but not to a great extent, right? Because there's things I don't know that I don't know. But there's things that I've read about that I definitely haven't experienced, and I go, but that's not even anything like the experience that I've had. So I can call it like bullshit on certain things. But if you go into, like, what is an example that I can share with you guys? There is this post that I wrote probably 6 years ago, six and a half years ago, and it's called The Egg. And in this post of the egg is actually a story written by a man, and I can't remember the author's name, but it's a story on life and on our purpose and the message and the meaning. And it's a beautiful, beautiful tale of how basically everything comes back down to us, and how we are having experiences in so many different ways, and that we are all the consciousness known as God, and that we are all this piece. So this story, The Egg, which I do encourage you to read if you get an opportunity to do, is really about just that. And when I was introduced to this story, it was actually a man that I now know very well. He introduced me to it, but I remember sitting in Starbucks and we're having this conversation, and he's sharing this stuff with me. And then when I went home and I was thinking about it, I was just awestruck, because my realization was that everything that he had shared with me, and then when I read that story, was stuff that I had been told when I was 4, 5 years old. And here's the thing, who that told that to me when I was 4 or 5 years old. I'll let you read the egg that's attached here in the thread. But this particular being to put it simply, it was my It was my imaginary friend, okay? My imaginary friend. As a child, I think all creative people for sure have imaginary friends when they're children. Well, my imaginary friend, I would go and I would have deep discussions with my imaginary friend consistently, like every single day, maybe a couple times a day, and I would just get lost in conversation. In the bathroom was like my favorite space to talk to my imaginary friend. I think it was the only space that I really had that was really private and nobody was yelling at me to be here, do that, blah blah blah. Not that my mom ever wanted me to do anything, she definitely wanted me to be different places. So I would go in there, and my imaginary friend who told me his name was Seth, told me that all this stuff and explained all these incredible things about life and about energy and about law of attraction and about just the way things were. And I thought it was amazing because he would go into such detail, and then I would have these experiences. I would listen to him, and then at night I would lay in my bed and I would imagine myself being nothing but light. And I always loved the dark because the dark's not really dark to me. It was, and still is today, where in a dark room I see lots of flickers of light in different colors, and I've had my eyes checked out and all that good stuff, and I have fantastic vision. I still have 20/20 vision. At 42 almost, I have 20/20 vision. There's not a damn thing wrong with my eyes, but I still see these particles of light. So like nothing looks solid to me. I literally see like this stuff doing this, which is really weird, but it makes it cool when I'm focusing in on people's energy and stuff. So I was just more in tune to being able to see energy, to see auras, as it's referred to see all that kind of stuff. And as a small child, I would lay in bed and I would just see this energy all around me, and I would literally just kind of take off on these wild energetic trips, which later I was given the name of astral travel to. And I had no clue as to what I was doing as a child, except that it was really fucking amazing and I loved it. And it was my favorite bedtime practice, was to go in and take myself and turn myself into this light thing and just travel out into the cosmos and go and explore wherever I ended up landing. But later I learned that was all about astral travel, but Seth was the one who gave me the little ins on how to do that in the bathroom when I was 4 or 5 years old, as well as kind of what life is all about and all that good stuff. So I mean, here you have the point of me sharing this is, yeah, I'm admitting my crazy here, because somebody can be listening to this and going, oh my goodness, well, now I know that she's crazy, and I'm just not going to listen to her anymore. That's just a bunch of bull. That's just a bunch of this. It's just a bunch of that. Angels and energy and astral travel and that we are all light beings and all a piece of God, and auras and blah blah blah. Oh, and dream interpretation too. Let me tell you, all this different stuff. The things I have learned through the years and experienced, to some may appear crazy, may appear absolutely crazy, and people might go, that's just, hey Kendall, that did not really happen, you're making that shit up, you're just enthusiastic and creative, you're this or that, maybe you should go see a doctor or a psychiatrist, something like that. I mean, all these different things. But the truth of the matter is that my experiences are my experiences, and there are plenty of people in the world and throughout time that have experienced these things as well, which is why we have labels for them. At 4 or 5 years old, I had no labels. I just had the experiences. I just know what I was being told through the sharing that I was getting from my imaginary friend, from the things that he would tell me and I would experience. And then later on in time, I would learn about when I was in my teen years, when I started reading, when I had somebody come into my life that taught me different things and was explaining and was providing these labels. Then all of a sudden I was like, oh, that's what that is. That energy thing that I'm seeing in the sky, that's a ley line. Oh, I had no clue up until about 15, 16 years old that certain things that I was seeing, what they were, until my high school boyfriend came along and was discussing things with me and sharing these different labels, and I would tell him what I was seeing, and he'd be like, how are you seeing that? And I would tell him what I was experiencing or what I was seeing, and he would give me the labels. And I was like, oh, he's helping me tidy this up and, file it and put labels on and get all organized and understand and give me something to go and research. And then what I started doing was I started researching and finding things that would take me back into world history and world religion and spirituality, taking me back 5, 6, 7,000 years. And then I discovered, like, oh, well, maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe I'm just waking up. Maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe I'm just waking up. Maybe this is just a state of consciousness that I was able to tap into. And because of my very unique family dynamics and situation and the way I grew up, that I was given the opportunity to actually experience these things for a greater reason. So I sit here this morning, not giving you a whole lot of 1, 2, 3s on this conscious coffee, but instead to give you maybe hope that maybe you're experiencing some crazy ass shit, and maybe you don't know what to do with it. Maybe you don't know what it's called. Maybe you haven't really had any true direction or understanding about things. Maybe you think I'm crazy, and that's perfectly fine. And I see Addison typing here, bye Felicia. Well, there you go then, bye Felicia. So, to be open and to experience these things is part of our spiritual growth. It's part of our evolution. And hold on just a second, I need to say goodbye to a kid. Are you out here, babe?
I don't know.
Okay. So, last day of school. She looks perturbed. But it really is truly that as you awaken more, as you come more into yourself and into a higher state of consciousness, and it's not even a higher state of consciousness as it is consciousness itself, because we truly do wander through our days asleep. We wander through our days asleep, detached, not seeing. We focus in on the 2% of reality, and what I love about science in today's world is like quantum physics, right? Quantum physics is constantly teaching us that we only see 2% of our world. So what the heck is going on in the other 98%? And is there the possibility that some of the things that I even spoke of just on here, or that has come up in ancient texts and faiths and religions around the world, because even the things that Jesus spoke of, if they happened in today's world, we would look at somebody and we would say, that person's crazy. That's not possible, because we're so focused on the 2%. We're so focused on that 2% that we miss the reality of everything that is going on. And if we want to create that freedom-based fuck yes life, then we have to break free of the 2%, and we have to throw open the possibility of the 98%. We have to have that possibility that there is something more, that there is something greater, that there is stuff that we do not see, but it is still there. The more we lean on our eyes and on our vision and being able to only believe what it is that we see, the more cut off we are from existence, from reality, and from the life that we truly can live. So don't just buy into what your eyes are saying. Listen to your soul, listen to your heart. Pay attention to the energy as it is referred to. And if you want to have a conversation with God, then you look no further than your own heart, because God speaks to you through your heart's desire, through your heart, that soft voice that you might go, I'm not going to listen to that voice inside, because only crazy people listen to the voice inside. But that voice is ultimately you. That voice is truly, truly you, because you are God. There's a piece of you that is God. And that voice, that's your guidance system, because that's like that communication, that little chain that connects each one of us to Source, to God, and gives us that alignment. When I speak of alignment, that is all I'm talking about, is getting into alignment to that right there, that internal light connection, energetic connection, communication to God. And that means to open up to the 98%, because I guarantee you that no matter what your faith is, no matter what your belief is, even if it's just in science, the biggest mistake one can make is to only believe the 2% and to deny the 98%, even if you're just looking at it scientifically. Because what is in that 2%? What are the possibilities? They're endless. They're absolutely endless. And much like I said on the beginning side of this, I don't know what I don't know. I do know what I do know. I do know what I have experienced. I do know some of the things that I don't know, because some of the things that I don't know, I've read about, I haven't experienced, but I go, oh, I see a possibility in that, but I haven't experienced that. And then there is this whole whole universe is full of things that I just don't know, that I don't know. So how can we take claim to anything being exactly as is, exactly the way we think that it should be? How can we lay down this great certainty that things must happen in this way, because this is the logical way, this is the only way, this is the way that it has to happen? That's hand tying. It's not only hand tying to us, but it's also hand tying to God, because God operates in possibility. And when we take away that possibility, when we do that, we slam the door on God. Therefore, we slam the door on the beauty of all that can be created, the beauty of us awakening. And even though we might feel crazy in some of those moments, it truly is that we're just awakening, that we're just becoming conscious to the greater world that is around us and within, and our connection to it, and how everything is woven together, which is quite literally where my little piece of Tantra comes into my teachings and into my practice, because it is all about weaving everything together, seeing the interconnectedness of everything and the possibility of that. So I'm going to let you guys go. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that at least I got you thinking on some things, that maybe you want to go and, if nothing else, go and like study up a little bit on quantum physics or something, because it's really amazing. I love quantum physics. I could probably do like a whole 3-month in-depth teaching just on some of the quantum physics stuff that I have learned over the last, oh my goodness, 25 years of getting labels and then some. And so, I mean, I would definitely say study up on quantum physics, learn about that kind of stuff just a little bit. I wouldn't go massive intensive like trying to get your master's in it or something, but just getting a little bit of a grip on it, and stop second guessing the things that you see. Quite literally, like if something happens that's good, like you pull into a parking lot and there's just a parking spot available for you, and you were going, man, I wish that I had a parking spot right up front close to this, and all of a sudden one appeared. Don't just take it as coincidence. Actually say thank you to God. Say thank you to whatever you want to say thank you to. If you just want to say thank you to your higher self for pulling that in, fine. I typically thank God on things like that, but acknowledge it, praise it, and that way you are giving it attention and opening up to more of this beauty of the interconnectedness of our universe working together. You know, when you have a thought and then something happens, somebody calls you, you know, that experience, you think about somebody and then all of a sudden they call you or they message you or something like that. Realize that was that interconnectedness, that was that energy exchange, that you're actually, when you're thinking and feeling something about somebody, that they're getting a tug on the other side as well. And or when something comes into you and there is this uncontrollable urging to do or to reach out, don't deny it. Actually reach out. You know, give yourself credit for those little moments when you know that something's going to happen, and then you go, oh no, it's, that's not that big of a deal. Just like, I shared day before yesterday, and my one of my articles was called the skinny on the how-tos, and in there I talk about how I had been asked to hold space for somebody and all this different stuff, and I had actually shared with the person who was asking me to hold space for somebody else. I shared my initial gut reaction to something, and I had no reason to feel or think what I was feeling and thinking, but I shared it with this person, and then quite literally moments later, I ended up finding out that I was dead on right. I did not want to be right in that moment, but I was absolutely 100% correct in that. And now somebody could say, oh, well, that was just coincidence, and I'd be like, well, why the hell would I ever think that? Okay, yeah, sure, I guess you could say it's coincidence, but I don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe that things just that it just happens. Everything is interconnected, and I see it because the more I'm in it and the more I practice being in tune and aware and awake to these things, the more I see the support that is absolutely 100% accurate. So, it's not just coincidence that maybe we want to title it a psychic moment. Fine, I had a psychic moment. I have these moments every now and then. It's like you just get this picture. Don't deny those. Actually support those and say, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for that moment. Thank you for that little tune in, tap into that, and praise yourself for tuning in and tapping into it. And here's the thing, the reason why this is here this morning is because probably there's a lot of people who are second guessing the things that are coming to them, the feelings that they're having, the messages, the signs, the omens, the what have yous. And I just want you to know that it's really, really important to just really feel into it and allow it to happen, and allow yourself to experience that. Because if you want to create that life, you cannot deny how you are interconnected to every single piece of it. It is not pushing things. It is not pulling things. Not about forcing things to happen right here, right now. It is about opening up to that flow and getting into that flow and just receiving. So there you go. I hope that this was helpful, as I already said. Goodness, I am going to say goodbye for now. But what I want you to do is to tap in and really start receiving. I did just launch a course. It's a free course that I just launched. You're more than welcome to go and explore. It's going to be free for just a little bit, and it's all on creating that fuck yes life, as I refer to it. So I suggest that you grab a hold of that free course. It is pinned on here to my page, and it is actually just coming up there on this thread right here. So make sure that you go ahead and grab that course today for free. And it's just got a whole bunch, three big things that I really focus in on, and some of the things that I do every single day to help draw in and create the life that I want to be living consciously, instead of just kind of getting bumped around by life, to actually be a conscious co-creator in my life and to draw that in. So let me see what else. Beth, I see your comment there. I see that, and I will message you actually in just a little bit so that we can chit chat about that. Thank you for being on here this morning as well. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, everybody else. Amy, I see you too. It's always wonderful to see all my what are we calling it? What, Addison? What was the title? Conscious Coffee buddies, conscious coffee junkies. I don't know. I can't remember what the heck we were saying, but we were had this whole title thing going at the beginning of the year when I really got into these conscious coffees. But it's always wonderful to see all of you guys on here, and conscious creators. There we go. Yeah, see, conscious creators. So let me see. Yeah, I think that's it for the announcements for right now. So I'm kind of drawing a blank now, and I guess it's time for me to get on my coffee, get on my journaling, get on my daily practices of creating my Fuck Yes life, and so that I can continue to share those awesome, amazing things with you guys and give you a little ooh, ooh on your journey on creating everything. So as I always say, remember, stop existing and start living. Bye, guys.